Most project coordinators have more project management experience than they realize. They've just been trained by their job titles, by their resume, and by their own managers to call it something else. Today, I'll show you how to fix exactly that without exaggerating and without lying, and without adding a single new skill to your resume to what you already do. Now, if you're interested in becoming a project manager, learning how real IT projects are run, and building actual project management experience, then why not join us inside the Eddy system on School? It's a practical space for people who want to stop just watching project manager content and actually start practicing. There's a community tab for conversations, networking, and real PMO activity, a calendar tab with live phase-gate sessions every Monday and Thursday, and a classroom filled with training, PM tools, and resources to land a job. There's also a simulation platform where students pick realistic IT projects, make decisions, create deliverables, and move their projects forward. On the screen, there's a link, or you can simply click the link in the description of this video, and we'll see you inside. Some quick context: I've been an IT project manager for over 8+ years. I've helped over hundreds of people break into project management, most of them after years of being stuck. A lot of those people weren't beginners. They were senior coordinators, project analysts, business analysts, operations leads, people who'd already been running aspects of real projects for years, but couldn't get hired into the next title up. I've watched it happen so many times now that I can almost predict the moment that it clicks. So when I tell you that you probably have more PM experience than your resume currently shows, I'm not guessing. I've seen it dozens of times. The work is there. It's been there. You just haven't been giving it the right name. Here's how the trap works. You start a job as a coordinator, maybe a project coordinator, maybe a scrum master, maybe an analyst running some kind of implementation. The title might say junior, but the work very often isn't. You start owning tasks that nobody else owns. You start running meetings that nobody else wants to run. You start making decisions when stakeholders are unclear. You start writing the status reports and updates that nobody else will. You start absorbing the work, and that's actually project management without anyone giving you the title. 2 years, maybe 3 years go by, and you decide you want the next title up. You apply for a PM role, and every resume you send says coordinator level things like you track tasks or scheduled meetings or supported the project manager or maintained the project plan. But that's not a description of your actual work. That's a description of just your job title. Hiring managers don't read between the lines. They scan for project management signals. They don't just see them automatically. They reject you for not having PM experience. You walk away thinking, okay, I need more experience, but you actually don't. You just need a different way of describing the experience that you already have. That's what most coordinators never figure out. They're stuck in the language of their job title when the language of the work would have gotten them hired. Now, here's a principle that fixes all of this. The work that you do at your job is described by what you actually did, not by the title above your desk. If you organize cross-functional meetings, identify risks, get sign-off from a sponsor, and drive a project to delivery, that's project management work. The fact that nobody handed you a PM title while you were doing it doesn't change what the work was. Now, I want to be very clear about what this is and what this isn't. This isn't about lying on your resume. It's not about stealing credit for someone else's work. It's not about pretending that you have done something that you didn't do. This is correctly describing what you actually did using the language of the profession that you're trying to enter. That distinction matters quite a bit because most coordinators are so worried about overclaiming that they wildly underclaim what they actually did. You've been taught to be modest, to defer to whoever had the senior title, to describe themselves in the way their job description describes them. The job description was written for HR. It was never written to capture what you actually do every day. Hiring managers don't reward modesty. They reward clarity, and the clearest description of your work is almost never the one you've been using. So let me show you 4 moves that will fix this for you immediately. And they'll cover what most coordinators have been doing wrong on resumes, on LinkedIn, and in interviews. Each one takes about 10 minutes to apply, so you can actually implement this fairly quickly. The first move is about verbs. Most coordinators describe their work with task level verbs. Tracked, updated, maintained, supported, scheduled, coordinated. Those verbs sound like activity. Hiring managers are not scanning for activity. They're scanning for ownership and outcome. So what you need to do is switch to verbs that describe what you actually delivered. Owned, delivered, drove, led, executed, shipped. Here's the same work written two different ways. Here's a coordinator language. Track tasks for the implementation team across multiple projects. Here's a PM language. Own the delivery of the customer onboarding rollout, coordinating across product and engineering teams and support teams to hit launch on schedule. Same work, different language. The first reads like an assistant, the second reads like a project manager. When you're going through your resume, every line that starts with a task level verb is a chance to upgrade it. Don't add things that you didn't do. Just describe what you did using the verbs that match the role that you're trying to land. Here's the second thing you can do, and it relates to meetings. Coordinators tend to describe meeting work the way calendars describe it. Scheduled, coordinated, took notes, sent invites. But running a meeting isn't admin work. Running a meeting is choosing who attends, setting the agenda, surfacing the right decisions, capturing what got resolved. That's actually stakeholder management. That's exactly what hiring managers want to see. So again, same work, two different ways to frame it. Coordinator language sounds something like this. I scheduled weekly meetings for the project team and tracked action items. PMs might say something different, like I ran the weekly stakeholder cadence for the program, driving alignment across product engineering and the executive sponsor, and surfacing risk for early escalation. The first sounds like assistant work. The second sounds like someone who's been running a project. If you've been the person running meetings, even when nobody officially handed you the responsibility, that's the language that you need to use. You weren't scheduling a meeting, you were managing the room. Here's the third thing you can do, and it relates to status reports. Most coordinators describe their status work like typing or just updating something. Wrote weekly status updates or sent the emails, kept the team informed. But a real status update does three things really well. It tells stakeholders what's on track, what's at risk. It surfaces decisions that need to be made, and it creates a paper trail that lets senior leaders step in early. That isn't typing, that's project communication. See, remember, same work, two different ways to frame it. Coordinator language sounds something like this. I wrote weekly status updates for the project team. PM language would be drove weekly project communication across the team and key stakeholders, flagging risks early, surfacing decisions for executive input, and keeping the program on track for delivery. The first reads like a typing job. The second reads like a PM doing real PM work. If you've been writing the status reports for your team, you have not been keeping people informed. You have been driving the communication that actually holds the project together. Now, the fourth thing you can do is all about how you approach interviews. So here's what happens. You apply for a PM role using the language that we just talked about. You get the interview, and somewhere in the conversation, the hiring manager looks down at your resume and sees project coordinator as your job title. And he asks you a question that will derail most candidates. Hey, so you aren't actually the PM here, you were the coordinator. And most coordinators will panic at this question. They start to backpedal, they start to hedge. They say something like, well, technically no, but I helped a lot. That answer ends the interview immediately. Here's the answer that doesn't. My title is a project coordinator. Yes, the work I was doing was actually project management. Let me walk you through what that actually looked like. Then you walk them through the scope that you own, the decisions you made, the stakeholders you managed, the deliverables you shipped. You don't apologize for the title. You explain what your title didn't capture. If you can, then you walk in as a PM candidate. If you can't, you walk out as a coordinator. People run work above their titles all the time. Hiring managers know this. They're not testing your honesty. When they ask you that question, they're testing whether you can describe your work without flinching. Here's a quick example. About 6 months ago, a guy in his early 30s reached out to me. He'd been working as a project coordinator at a fintech company for about 3.5 years. He applied to maybe 20 PM roles in the previous 12 months, got 2 interviews, no offers. And I had him do exactly what I just walked you guys through right now. Rewrite his resume using outcome verbs, translate his meetings into stakeholder cadences, reframe his status reports as project communication because that's what it was, and rehearse the answers to the title question until it stopped sounding apologetic. Then he sent out 15 new applications, got 6 interviews, landed an offer for a senior PM role in just under 6 weeks. Same person, same work history, just different language in his resume and in his interview. So quick recap for what you guys could do right now to maybe shift the odds in your favor. Move number 1 is to switch from task verbs to ownership and outcome verbs. Move number 2 is describe meeting work as stakeholder management. Move number 3 is project status reports. Describe them as project communication. And move number 4 is when an interviewer questions your title, lead with the work, not an apology about what your title was. So there you have it. I just gave you 4 tactics that you can use to hopefully land your next PM role. Now, if you want to go farther and deeper into project management and gain real hands-on exposure and build the confidence to be able to talk in depth in interviews with real experience and real things and real deliverables that you've actually created and done, then I invite you to join our live PMO, where people just like yourself, students just like yourselves, are gaining real hands-on IT project management experience inside of our live PMO training environment. So click the link below and I'll see you inside.